Dayron Sharpe and Ziaire Williams are officially staying in Brooklyn. Hello, everyone, and welcome in to another edition of the Brooklyn Boys Show. Coming with you again for the second day in a row with some breaking news. Exterior free agency really around the league is expected to kick off tonight at 6 p.m. EST, but the Nets have already made three moves within their organization. Obviously, yesterday was the move that we went live for immediately, tendering Cam Thomas's qualifying offer, which makes him a restricted free agent, pretty much assuring that he will be a Brooklyn Net for the coming years, signing an extension that will be expected in the next few days. But the two moves that just came out earlier today are pretty big moves. Two guys who were role players on this Nets team last year, Ziaire Williams and Dayron Sharpe. According to Michael Scotto, who was the first one on the Dayron Sharpe news, the Nets have extended Dayron Sharpe on a 2-year deal worth up to $2-year, $12 million deal with a $6 million AAV. I was expecting Dayron Sharpe to make $10 to $12 million a year. So this is where I'll start. You guys know I don't like Sean Marks. I have to give him props, though, here on what he was able to orchestrate with Dayron Sharpe. Dayron Sharpe was a guy I looked at hitting the exterior market who I thought I thought he was going to return to the Nets. But I said, if he stays with the Nets, if he goes elsewhere, that is a guy I looked at and I said, he can get $10 to $12 million. Well, Sean Marks was able to work it out to where it was $12 million over the course of 2 years and a $6 million AAV. So shout out to Sean Marks there, 1,000%. That's what I have to say on the Dayron Sharpe deal from a contractual standpoint. Dayron Sharpe, though, as a player, I really, really like Dayron Sharpe. I want him to be the starting center of this team. I mean, this guy was a first-round pick by the Brooklyn Nets just a few years ago. Very physical, very tough, great rebounder. I'm a huge fan of Sharpe. I'll throw this in here, the stat that I stumbled upon the other day. He's one of the most efficient offensive rebounders in NBA history. He's on pace to hit like some record of most offensive rebounds per 100 attempts, some efficiency rating. He's on pace to hit that this season. So Dayron Sharpe is a guy I look at. He's the only true rebounder I see on this Brooklyn Nets team. Nick Claxton went from being a Defensive Player of the Year candidate during the 2023 season to contributing nothing off the glass last year. So Dayron Sharpe was able to step up. He's been able to contribute to as a rebounder for the Nets over the past few years. So the Nets need a true rebounder, and they retain that in Dayron Sharpe. Plays with high energy. I really don't have many complaints about Sharpe. Another thing I will throw in that I've really liked the way he's been. I really like the way he's been able to develop as a passer and his shot making ability. Is Dayron Sharpe a guy you want shooting the 3 ball 5-6 times a game? Is Dayron Sharpe a guy you want shooting a mid range jumper 3-4 times a night? No, but when he came into the league, he was almost as bad of a shooter as Nick Claxton currently is. Dayron Sharpe's shot making ability has been able to develop a little. And I think over the next few years, Dayron Sharpe could be a guy who you could potentially rely on for the 3 ball. So it's always a bonus that you have a big man who could potentially develop into a shot maker. And I think that's what the Nets have in Sharpe. As for how I think he's going to fit into the Nets rotation this season, this is certainly the interesting part here. If I had to make a prediction today, I think Dayron Sharpe is the starting center for the Brooklyn Nets. I was talking to, shout out to Gary, who we had on the show yesterday. I was texting with Gary about this earlier today. I think Dayron Sharpe's the starting center this season. If Sean Marks had an inkling that Nick Claxton would be coming back this year and they weren't going to find a trade partner for him, I don't think he would have extended Dayron Sharpe, because we know Sean Marks has his guys, and one of his guys happens to be Nick Claxton. I don't think the Nets would have extended Dayron Sharpe if it didn't mean he was going to be a starter. I mean, you look at the centers and the power forwards the Nets have right now: Dayron Sharpe, Noah Clowney, Danny Wolf, and Nick Claxton. I don't think there's much room for Claxton. I don't think you can go into the year with 4 centers on your roster. It doesn't make sense. Can you run a 4-5 tandem of maybe Clowney and Claxton or Clowney and Sharpe? I think it's going to be Clowney and Sharpe. There's no point in keeping Nick Claxton around. The Lakers didn't get Sharpe. That was one of the things I was concerned about a little by making Sharpe an unrestricted free agent, that potentially the Lakers would go out and nab him because we know the Lakers are in need of a center. Now I think Nick Claxton is getting shipped off to LA. So that's what I think this Sharpe signing really means for the Nets here. Another thing I like about Sharpe on the defensive side of the ball that I think is going to be proved to be pivotal this season, he can guard multiple positions. Nick Claxton can't. Nick Claxton was getting bullied by no-name centers last year. Dayron Sharpe can guard 3 positions and guard those positions very efficiently. So I'll throw that in there too. I think he's going to play a huge role in Jordy's defensive scheme here. His footwork's great. One thing I will add, the fouls he got into foul trouble very, very early on in games. He's gotten into foul trouble very early on in games throughout his NBA career. I think that's something that can be cleaned up, however. But I overall really, really like Dayron Sharpe. And keep in mind, we're talking about Dayron Sharpe here. He's 22 years old. Dayron Sharpe isn't 25. Dayron Sharpe isn't 26. He still has so much room to develop at the NBA level. This guy's only 22 years of age. So I think he has a super, super high ceiling, especially based on what he's shown us thus far. So love that Dayron Sharpe's able to stay in Brooklyn, and I have super high expectations for him over the next few seasons. Now, moving on to the Nets' second move today. One of 2 moves. One of the Nets' 2 moves, obviously, we just broke down Sharpe. Retaining Ziaire Williams. This is another guy yesterday. The Nets did not tender his qualifying offer, which made him an unrestricted free agent. But it had to do with the cap hold. That was the main thing. It would have lost the Nets $14 million in cap space if they tendered the qualifying offer for both Sharpe and Williams. So I think Sean Marks, again, did a great job of being able to finagle the cap space here by not tendering their qualifying offers and waiting for them to hit the open market and pouncing on it right away. Williams is the guy the Nets acquired last year ahead of the 2024-25 season. I mean, we saw him with the Grizzlies. This guy was a lottery pick just a few years ago. He didn't really play much of a role on the Grizzlies. He cracked the rotation at times, but wasn't much of a role player in Memphis. Love what I saw from him last year as a guy who really took advantage of every single opportunity he had. I think that's a fair assessment of what Ziaire Williams was able to contribute to the court last season. Elite athleticism, great length. I think he's great defensively too. I think one of the biggest things for Ziaire, though, is consistency all around. We know he had the knee injury in December, which pretty much kept him out the majority of the month. But I think the biggest thing for Ziaire Williams that separates him from the top players in today's NBA is consistency. Consistency on defense, consistency rebounding, and most importantly, consistency from beyond the arc. There were games where Ziaire Williams was automatic with the corner threes. There were games where Ziaire Williams was automatic from downtown. And there were games where he couldn't shoot a 3 if his life depended on it. The bottom line is, though, he did hit some clutch threes. He did hit some clutch threes last year. He's a great slasher, has high character traits, great work ethic. I really, really like Ziaire Williams. Just the biggest thing that I think he has untapped potential. That's the way I put it. I think Ziaire Williams has untapped potential. The biggest thing for him, though, is going to be finding consistency all around. He's a high ceiling. Again, this is another young player. He's 23 years old. Ziaire Williams, 23. Dayron Sharpe, 22. These are all young players who still have a lot of time to develop, and they've shown great signs throughout their development thus far. So really, really like both these signings. As for how I think he fits into what the Nets are trying to do this season, he's a strong perimeter defender, which certainly helps his odds of getting involved in the rotation this season. The wing rotation, however, is going to be highly, highly competitive. The Nets surprised me by exercising Jalen Wilson's team option, so he's going to be back on the team this season. They drafted Drake Powell with a top 20 draft pick. It's going to be tough for Ziaire Williams to find time on the court. If I had to make a prediction, I think he battles for a spot in the rotation. I really think that's what happens. And I do think he gets a spot in the rotation strongly because of his defensive ability. Very athletic, can guard multiple positions, great on the perimeter. I think that's what yields Ziaire Williams a spot into the Nets rotation. Again, you need guys who can defend multiple positions. You need strong defenders. That's a huge thing in what Jordy Fernandez tries to build. And I expect Jordy to experiment with all these guys in the beginning of the year, like he did, similar to what he did last season. That's what I expect him to do this year. And if Ziaire Williams is able to stand out, he could certainly carve out a role on this Nets team. But he's going to need to earn it. No roles given to him. I mean, like I said, the wing room for the Nets this season, there are a lot of bodies. and he's going to need to find a way to separate himself from the rest of the pack. Appreciate you all tuning in. Smash the like button, hit subscribe right here on the Brooklyn Boys Show. I am your host, Connor Long. For all your questions, comments, thoughts, in the chat, smash the like button, hit subscribe. You guys are the best. Can't thank you enough for all your support. That was the breaking news today. The Nets re-signed Ziaire Williams and Dayron Sharpe. We'll definitely be back on later today if there's any breaking news, but we'll stay on here a little longer for all you guys. If you have any questions, please get engaged with us. You can throw those in the chat. We will get to those. Again, appreciate all of your support. We want to keep the conversation going here on the show. Get some questions in. Happy to interact with all of you guys here. Got any advice, anything you want to see on the show, also throw that in the comments. Appreciate you all. Our guy, Awesome LA, in the building. He says, what's good? He says, now what should we do? What should the Nets do, Awesome LA? Well, they still have time until they're able to start negotiating with players from other organizations, exterior free agents. That'll kick off in about 4.5 hours from now. I don't expect any big moves for the remainder of today. I think I can see them signing a free agency for them. I think is pretty much going to kick off tomorrow. I think the next move they make, though, is extending Cam Thomas. They're hammering out these deals with Dayron Sharpe, Ziaire Williams. They tendered Cam Thomas's qualifying offer yesterday. I think that's going to be their first move that they just want to get out of the way. And I think that's what they should do. You don't want that hanging over your head. Again, I don't think Cam Thomas is going anywhere, especially given now that he's a restricted free agent. But you don't want that hanging over your head. Just get it done now. I think that's what they'll do. My prediction would be re-signing Cam Thomas. Say I like Dayron Sharpe. How can you not like Dayron Sharpe? He came in as a late first-round pick a few years ago, earned every minute he got, offered defensive value. The only guy who's been able to haul in rebounds for this team. He's been developing into a shot maker. I said this yesterday too. That's the one part of his game I don't think anyone's been talking about. He's been sneakily developing into a shot maker for this team. And he's still 23. And he still has ways to go until I trust him to, shoot at a high clip from three-point range or consistently hit his jumpers. But he's developing into a shooter. And that's what you like to see. Again, guys, throw all your questions in the chat. Appreciate all your kind words and support here on the show. Please get all your questions, comments, thoughts in before we wrap. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some players. I wouldn't be surprised if some of the players we picked up, if they don't make noise in Summer League, get released. I think there's a bow to them. The name that catches my eye right away is Drew Timme. This is a guy who's struggled to kind of find minutes in Brooklyn last year. Started off on Long Island, thrived on Long Island, came up to Brooklyn, was able to follow that momentum for a few games, but nothing significant. Again, you have a lot of centers and power forwards on this team's roster. I just don't know where Drew Timme fits. Unless he compiles an incredible summer league, he's a guy who I look at and I think could be on the outside looking in. Another guy I'll say here is Tyrese Martin. Tyrese Martin, I really like. I think Tyrese Martin's a good player. I think he showed flashes when he needed to. He's able to hit from three-point range. But again, there's no spot for him on this roster. I don't see where he fits. For a team that isn't that great, the Nets have a lot of roster spots filled up. A lot of roster spots. That's what I'll say regarding the status of the Brooklyn Nets roster. The guy who headlines that list for me, though, like I said, Awesome LA, is undoubtedly Drew Timme. Says not Jalen, though. Yeah, I think if they didn't trust Jalen Wilson, they wouldn't have exercised his team option. I think they really like Jalen Wilson for some reason. He led the team in minutes last year somehow. He's not athletic. His shot-making ability didn't really stick out to me much last year. I was a little surprised that they did exercise the option on Jalen Wilson. I will say that. What do you think our expectations are in the Summer League? This is an interesting question. The way I look at the Summer League is I'm going to see how the draft picks stick out. I know that's kind of a bland answer here. I know it's a very bland answer, but I want to see how the guys you just selected stick out in-game action. Especially the later round, the later selections. Not Yegor Demon, not Traore perhaps, but like Drake Powell. How is he able to contribute? Ben Suraf, a puzzling pick for me. Is he able to find a way onto Brooklyn's roster, or does he start the season on Long Island? Danny Wolf, is he able to separate himself from the rest of the centers and make an impact on the Summer League roster? Those are the main things. I'm looking at the ways the rookies can contribute out of the get-go. Those are that's what's headlining my list of summer league. And summer league's coming up here soon, and we will definitely have a lot of coverage of summer league here on this channel. So certainly stay tuned for that. Definitely appreciate you all tuning in here on the show. So definitely stay tuned for that. We have a lot of summer league coverage coming, and again, probably do quick. This was just quick show, getting the breaking news out. We will definitely be back. Any other breaking news? We have some videos coming out shortly as well, so stay tuned for those. 2 minutes here. We'll try to get. We'll stay on for like 3 more minutes. So again, final questions, comments, thoughts. You can pop those right into the chat. Anything you want to see in Brooklyn? Any content you want to see on this channel? You can throw that in. Awesome LA says you inspired me as well to start on my sport media grind. Awesome LA, my man. I appreciate the kind words. That means a lot. Hey, I have a passion for sports. I obviously do the Jet Show, which a lot of you know me from. We just started up this Nets show, so I appreciate all of you guys supporting me. Obviously, we're trying to build up the platform. We don't have a platform yet here, but that's what we're trying to build, and that's why we're doing daily content. We're trying to stick with daily content for sure. But awesome LA, that means a lot. Chase your dreams. This is something I like, so this is something I love. So I decided to pursue this passion and pursue this dream, and I'm really, really happy with the way things have begun to pan out for me. So, hey, anyone who's interested in this, anyone wants any advice, anyone wants any help with any of this, you can email me, you can DM me on Twitter, anywhere, and I'm happy to help because love sports media, love podcasting, love all this, and I inspire everyone who has a passion for it. Go in and be yourself. Be yourself in this. That's the biggest thing. So, awesome LA, that means a lot. Happy to hear that I did inspire you to get on the sports media grind. Appreciate you all, as always, and we appreciate all the support. Smashing the like button, hitting subscribe is the way you can help us grow here on the channel, build this platform, let other net fans know about what we're building here. Again, if there's any more breaking news, we'll be back. Stay tuned for some more content here on the channel. We appreciate you all. I am your host, Connor Long, signing off right here on the Brooklyn Boys Show. Ziaire Williams, Dayron Sharpe, they're staying in Brooklyn. Cam Thomas extension, that's my prediction to come next, but we'll all see. For everyone in the chat, for Josh, who's completely in another state, and hopefully we'll see this show in a few months. And everyone out there, hope you all have a great rest of your day, and as always, go Nets.